Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Jill.
Jamie McCart.
Here.
Bernie Paparad.
Here.
Roseanne Bozak. Travis Dunlap.
Present.
Gordon McCormick.
Here.
Nicole Migliorini.
Here.
Aaron Adcock.
Here. Approval of minutes, February 5th, 2024. So moved. I have a motion.
Also, yeah.
Second from Nicole. Discussion. Roll call, Jill.
Bernie Paparad.
Yes.
Travis Dunlap.
Yes.
Nicole Migliorini.
Yes.
Gordon McCormick.
Yes.
Aaron Adcock.
Yes.
Jeremy McCart.
Yes. Communication bills and expenditures. Portal officers committee and staff. That's everything. Attorney Patton. No. Okay. Hearing for business. Let's. I guess we can touch base on that real quick because we'll go quick. Town Code Chapter 15 temporary use permit. Do we have, I don't know where you're at with the transition.
I don't have anything ready for tonight.
Okay, very good. So we'll move that till next month. Taco Bell, Jill, you said that,
They are not on. They got on
Okay.
at 5 o'clock thinking it was Michigan time, but
okay,
he said there's not much progress.
they're still waiting, state design release,
Yep.
things like that. Okay. New business, let's skip one for now. I think there's gonna be a little discussion on that one. And go to the USW site plan. You guys wanna introduce yourself and kind of give us a grasp on the project?
Yeah, my name is,
I don't think it's on, I think we can hear you just fine.
okay, my name is Steve DeBold, I'm with Chester Incorporated, with me is Tony Hart, also with Chester Incorporated. This parcel is, located on the east side of McCool Road, just south of Forest Lane at 1275 McCool Road. The parcel consists of two parcels. Parcel 5 is the upfront parcel. It's 0.24 acres large, and the back parcel is 2.3 acres large, for a total of 2.62 acres. The parcel and all the surrounding parcels are zoned SD4, Mobile Home Park West. The Burns Harbor zoning ordinance says that the purpose of the special use district is to provide allowance for specific pre-existing uses and building types within the designated areas of Burns Harbor. The definition really of SD4 in the ordinance says that the purpose of the district is to provide for existing uses and building types related to mobile home park, accessory buildings related to the operation of a mobile home park, a park, and then a training center. Our proposed construction is in line with the training center use. Looking at the existing site, if you're trying to follow this, getting oriented with the site, north is actually to the left on this map. So we have US Highway 12, in front of the parcel. This is McCool Road.
Yeah, no.
We have Oak Leaf Lane, and then we have Forest Lane, directly in front of the parcel. This is the upfront parcel 5 that I was talking about. This will be the location of the proposed infiltration basin. So we have several existing buildings on the site. Really, we have existing shed. We have this large main building. You'll see a part of another existing building, and then moving south on the site. We have the another existing building, This building is where we're going to attach to with our proposed addition. It's currently being used as a wood shop training center. We have two existing sheds here. We have, existing, building location here, and then an existing garage. So there's quite a few, buildings already located on this parcel. And I think when they formed the SD4, you know, they surrounded it around these existing conditions and these existing building types. So if we move along, there's a lot of existing buildings that we're actually going to be removing from this parcel. Of course, this is where the detention pond is going to be. So we are going to be removing the existing gazebo that's in this location, moving south. This is the existing building that, again, that we're going to be attaching to. There's a lot of buildings that we're going to be removing on this site. This existing building, it's pretty large. We're going to be removing that. We're going to be removing those two large sheds, and then also this large garage is going to be removed from the project. As well as there's an existing parking lot right here that it currently drains to an existing catch basin in this direction. But what's happening is that the existing dry well is just being overwhelmed. It's probably not being maintained. So it's what it's doing is it's filling up and it's holding water, and then it's overflowing to McCool Road. Now McCool Road does drain, it slopes in this direction, and it slopes towards the highway ditch. So there's no real drainage impact, any problems that's taking place, but that's what it's doing. They want us to kind of fix that situation when we do this addition. So again, we're removing all these buildings and removing this asphalt. I haven't shown it as being removed, but what we're really going to do is kind of build up that asphalt so that it doesn't slope in this direction anymore, but slopes towards a swell that would be provided. Just take you to the grading plan. The rest shows everything. Look at this one first. So in this plan, this is the drainage and grading plan. You'll see the existing building again, and then we're attaching for this addition. This addition is going to be an auto shop training center. Kind of plays off the existing woodshop training area in this building. But you'll see, here's the parking lot that we're basically redoing. And then we're having this existing or this proposed area here. There's an existing asphalt in this area too that we're kind of removing. And then we have overhead doors on this side that they'll pull into. We'll have three striped areas for parking spaces here. We'll have 8 parking spaces along the existing building, and then 6 along the roadway. As far as drainage goes, we really wanted to improve the situation out there. So we've created a swale, and it starts behind the building. This swale will take the east half of this roof, this drainage, and we're going to create this swale. It's going to wrap around the building, and then it's going to form along the right of way here. And it's going to stop just short of this this proposed drive. And it is the existing location of the existing drive also. But once it's going to stop here, we're going to pick it up with a 18-inch storm sewer. And we're going to come along here. We're adding a catch basin in this location and this location to pick up the existing or the drainage from the existing parking lot area. And this storm sewer is going to travel all the way to the proposed infiltration basin. Now the storm sewer is the swales, the storm sewers, the existing catch basin grates. They'll all handle a 100-year storm. They're oversized, large enough to handle more than what we're taking to it, plus any future development that may happen in the future. Same goes with the infiltration basin. We had an infiltration test done on this site. We went 10 feet down, we didn't run into any groundwater. And the soils are really good. They will perk 11.5 inches per hour, so it's, we're gonna utilize this new pond for infiltration purposes, so it'll filter through the soil. And it again is sized for a 100-year storm, and it's oversized really. We're providing, we're required to have, where is it, 0.195 acre feet, and we're providing 0.261 acre feet, so it's quite a bit larger than it needs to be. Going back to this page, along this route here, there's a series of 6 trees that were planted on our side of the property, but it just so happens they're along where we're installing the storm sewer. So we are removing 6 trees, but I think that they would have had to be removed anyways, for the simple fact that there's an overhead line that runs along McColl Road. And if you look out there, I have some slides further down. You'll see there's a pretty low lying overhead utility line that runs through those trees. So they've overgrown and they're running through those overhead lines, which is not a good idea. But they are being removed. We also have an existing dumpster location. It's in this location right here. It's existing. We weren't planning on touching that location. We plan on leaving it right where it's been for many years. This existing building was built in 2015. It has steel siding, steel roof. We feel that the zoning was formed for this type of buildings that were out there, and we're pretty much matching the aesthetics of everything that's out there. So this addition will look just like that. In the back here, we have, I can show you what the building is going to look like. It's the same type of construction as the other buildings. It's basically going to be steel siding and steel roof to match the other buildings. If that's said, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Will be a fence on the pond.
There's not a fence planned around the pond right now.
You want to elaborate on why? Just the slope.
We have, right now we have a pretty good slope. I think, what is the slope? I believe we have a 4-to-1 slope, and that pond will actually empty. I can look it up right now. So it's not going to stay full very long, even in the event of a 100-year storm. It's going to empty pretty quickly. Let me look at what the calculations say real quick. So the time that in the event of a 100-year storm, this pond will take 11.78 hours to drain. And that's because we have such fast moving soils at the bottom of this pond.
So there will be standing water for days.
For the longest, if we have like I said, if we have a 100-year storm event, it'll take approximately 12 hours to drain. And the addition is approximately 4,800 square feet.
So I guess the question I have is whether or not we're deeming this as an accessory building or if this is an addition to the existing building. Because I think that changes one of the potential variances based on the square footage compared to the principal structure. It looks to me that there's a piece in there that you're attaching the two buildings together, correct?
Yes.
I don't know how everybody on this board feels, but I mean, I think building is either attached or it is not. I don't know how to differentiate between the two.
And the attachment is really just it's a hallway between the two buildings. The front building is being used as an office space. It's been there since, I think, 97. So it's been there a long time. Previous to this zoning ordinance being established. You can say that that's one use and the other building is another main use rather than an accessory structure. And the fact is also, we are removing, you look back at the demolition plan, we're removing two sheds, removing
It's back.
a large building here and a large garage here. So we're actually taking away a lot of the existing buildings also. More square footage than we're actually adding.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you have, I think we're well within the stipulation as far as the percentage of lot coverage. I think the only issue is if it is an accessory building, there's a limitation for our town code from the original main structure. It can only be, is it 80% in this zone? 80% of that size, which obviously is bigger than that. But if this board is viewing it because it is attached, then I don't know that that's
We
something to look at.
lot.
I'm looking at, I mean, if it's attached, I guess foundation wise and everything else, I mean, it would have to, be working with the same frost heaps and stuff like that, otherwise the rates would be different. So if it's structurally able to be attached and it is attached to the building, I don't know that the accessory building percentage would apply. Which in essence would keep, at least for that particular item, would remove your requirement to go to PTA due to the size.
If I may, this is.
Absolutely.
The existing site right now has a lot of accessory buildings that they are not conforming. So they are removing those non-conforming structures and adding somewhat of a debatable, should it be conforming or not? So based on the new code I'm talking about.
Right.
Non-conforming is from the previous code, not from the existing code. So I guess my point that they are making the site much, much better.
Oh, I agree. I had to walk all those buildings.
Right.
Not fun, and they have an alarm.
So I think from the standpoint of the site development itself, it's definitely an enhancement to a non-conforming most of the structures that are, and they are moving those.
So maybe to back up a step, to ask a question as far as, is this a consolidation, fit, form, function of the addition? Is that effectively the same or no change, or is there a fundamental shift in what the building utilization?
Yeah, again, the existing building that's currently there, it's a training facility, but it's using as like a wood shop training area. The new addition is going to be a training area also, but except for automotive.
But as far as the garage portion that is there, that had a 2-car garage, they were attempting to do some training in there in the past, it just wasn't sized and it didn't work, so they kind of scrapped that portion at that time. In which they built a wood shop, because that was able to conform to what they're doing with getting guys in the mill to train, and have skills outside of the mill. And then this new vehicle is meant for additional training for a whole nother avenue of, jobs if they were to leave the mill, which would be vehicle repair.
So if I'm looking at it right, like what we have left to decide on is facade transparency, window and door opening percentage for non-residential structure does not appear to meet the minimum code, but matches the style of the existing structure to remain. That's obviously one of the things that doesn't necessarily meet right now. The other thing would be facade articulation. Facades shall be varied with architectural elements, materials, and not solely colors. Color change is only specified variation, but matches the existing structure to remain. Facades of more than 40 feet in length should be broken up by stepping textures or ornamental features.
If I may add to that, when I read the, out of the ordinance on purpose, because I think that this zoning was, obviously, formed around, the training facility already being there and those type of buildings. And then the ordinance really, it says, you know, the ordinance says that the purpose of special use district is to provide allowance for specific pre-existing users and building types within the designated areas of Burns Harbor. So when I read that, it looks like it was kind of formed for the training center in this location and that building type. So that's what we're doing, is we're following suit with the existing buildings matching that building type. The transparency really does not follow that type of building type. And I think that the zoning ordinance was formed for a training center, obviously, and not that other building type that would, with the transparency.
So to piggyback off what Steve's saying, the existing building does have the high 2x4 windows on it.
Oh, yeah.
And again, you can't tell here, but we're adding the green wainscot up to 3 feet around the entire building to break up that architectural look where we do have green on the bottom, white on top. So we are matching exactly what that existing building looks like. And Shem, if I may, I mean, the way I read, your review, I felt like your architect was kind of recognizing like, hey, there is an existing building and
We did recognize,
yeah.
in fact, we said the confirmation, but
Yes.
Jerry, I got something. Is there a,
Absolutely.
is there a landscape plan for this building?
I currently do not show any landscaping on the side. We have the swales in the back, we have the swales on the side, in the swale up front from the parking lot. Those things are needed because of the existing conditions. So we're more planning on landscaping those areas, they would be grass.
But you are taking out trees along the road, so you're taking away landscape stuff. And you're not planning on putting anything else back in?
Yeah, and the reason we were taking out those trees along the roadway is because they're in direct line with the existing store. And they are they're overgrowing within those overhead lines, so it's not a good location for trees to begin with, because they're growing around the utility lines.
And the primary structure does have existing landscaping around it. These two additional buildings the first one that was built in 2015 and the one we're adding are more of just the training facility itself.
I guess the question for this board is, we have Global's report. There's things listed, it's gonna be a matter of whether or not we are willing to look past what the prior use is and what the current code reads, and what items we're willing to say, okay, I understand this, and what items we're not. Ultimately, I think we need to make a determination on where.
To rephrase the question, as far as principal use of that property. Training, correct?
Yes,
What is the other building? What's the principal use inside that?
the front building.
Yeah, office space support for the primary use?
They do have computer labs in there that they are training on, so they kind of grown the whole idea of the additional education outside the mill, where that started as the office with small training rooms in it. And now they did the wood shop, and now we're adding on, they're trying to create a curriculum to offer the employees.
How far is the retention pond or that away from Highway 12?
It's pretty far away from US Highway 12. This dimension here to this right of way line is 48 feet. And then you got another right of way, I think that's
Forest.
yeah, Forest Lane, that right of way.
Okay, there's
And
a
then
little
you
bit.
got a good significant distance, I'm not sure
And you're
exactly
supposed
what
to
that
get from
distance
forest to
is.
that.
Okay, it looks like an additional,
Okay.
60 or 70 feet.
All right, one other question, how close is the closest trailer to the pond?
So we have this whole parcel here, which is big, is not built upon. And then we have Oak Leaf, and then the trailer park is actually above that, so. This distance here to Oak Leaf right away is 138 feet, and then you got the 3-foot right away, so. we're talking 37 feet. To the property of the trailer. And our client also owns this parcel, they own these parcels here with the exception of a couple of lots, I forget which ones they are, that are owned by the state.
Okay. I just wondered, trailer park and kids are.
Yeah. And we are maintaining that wood line that is on the east side of the parcel we're trying to develop here. So between the park, I guess, consider it a park right now, it's kind of called a park. And then the drive of Oak Leaf Lane. That interior lot line down between everything will be maintained as woods.
We have a tree line here along where the pond is, a big blue line here. We have a tree line along the property line. It's all wooded area on both sides of the road.
You gonna talk? I said, you gonna talk?
I don't think the trash receptacle is an issue as it's not changing. It's currently there. It's not a violation of our, like, if it's been existing for all this time. They're not changing anything with it. It's literally staying there. I don't know that that's an issue. They're not changing, like, cause if they didn't do this addition and it's still sitting there, it's still there. It's not changing based on any of these changes today. Or potential changes. My view is the building is attached, so the accessory building part of it and the square footage. I don't think that should play a part. But it's not just my opinion. The landscaping, however, I think something. It's weird because the front of the building, so the west side of the building is landscaped between the parking lot and the building. And if you're not gonna want them to replant trees in a swale to fix drainage. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Okay.
The south side of all their property is wooded. The east side is wooded. And then now the north side is gonna be this pond. I don't know what potential area they have the landscape.
Landscaping, sometimes it's a bioswale, for example, or shrubs, or different type of plants could actually enhance the drainage.
Okay,
So the pond is going to be, as you mentioned, that the pond is going to be seeded with a stormwater seed mix. So it's going to take on a natural, it's not going to just look like a big hole, it's going to take on some natural vegetation.
I guess what I'm saying, the top of the bank of the swale itself could be shrubs or could be part of the drainage system itself. It doesn't have to be a landscape or a tree or something that will impede the drainage. It could be something as just, a mixed seed of different type of shrubs. Should be.
Yeah.
And, in all honesty, if we can avoid having to go seek variances and delay the start of the project, I mean, I would wholeheartedly administratively work with Shem to create a plan that I think you could accept if we were to add some shrubbery or some landscaping to this, in order to avoid the process of seeking a variance specific to landscaping.
Well, the one thing that we can do that Shannon brought up is we could take those swells and plant the same stormwater seed mix, which will grow that natural looking vegetation that's probably tall. That doesn't get mowed, it just stays natural.
anybody have any thoughts? Or is there any other hangups that anyone sees? What do you think, Connor, Chuck?
I say that it's definitely an improvement to the property in two ways, the building improvement and the drainage improvement. So I see it as a win for the town.
Oh, I think it's a great improvement to the property. Like, I'm just looking at some things and, so if our code specifically says that internal parking lot landscaping required per code for lots over 12 spaces and there's 17 spaces proposed, how do we just say, yeah, it's good? I just wanna make sure that, like, if, let's say we do move forward with this in, as long as the landscape's addressed or something like that, I just,
So looking at that.
I mean, and I think that's an easy, relatively easy fix, but I think us just saying, we're not gonna apply it to you, but the next guy comes in and we wanna apply it to them.
So when I initially, I did look at that ordinance, and when I first read it, to me, it appeared like if you had, when you have more than 12 parking spaces in a row, then you would need a tree with an island or something. And we obviously don't have that situation. And again, this was existing parking lot that we just kind of removing. because of the drainage situation, and paving it, really just add asphalt to the existing parking lot and restriping it. So it's really, this whole portion here is an existing condition, really, and we're just restriping that area to
So
the way it was.
basically to add on to what you said, so Shem, if it says internal parking lot landscaping required per code for lots over 12 spaces. So if they put any kind of internal landscaping, if that's meaning like inside the parking lot, like that parking lot doesn't function. Cause it wouldn't, from the building, like how would you put, I mean, if it's looking like islands or something like that, I don't know that. Does it make sense to you? I mean, it's not like McDonald's where there's a ton of room and there's room for that island that they have there for, if that's internal landscaping. Whereas theirs is significantly different.
I think the intent of the code was to actually eliminate any headlights from any parked vehicles that is running. So the whole point is to actually shut, not shutting anything from the parking lot to the outside lots. So the point, I guess, whether it's internal or external, I mean, we can call it internal as well because it's inside the property line. So I think the shrubs, I guess, and the landscaping should be fairly simple, I think. It's not a major item in my mind. The major item in my mind is the 80% accessory dwelling. That was really the question at least. As far as the landscaping, like I said, bioswales could be considered as a landscape.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could definitely do the bioswales with the natural plantings within those swales. And then so it serves two purposes. It vegetates the parcel, gives us something to hide the parking lot. It won't help in this area because our swale ends here, but this whole area here would get seeding with the natural planting that's going to go 3 or 4 feet tall. And it gives you something visual to look at. But it also serves as, helps filter out the stormwater, and it's environmentally friendly for filtering out stormwater runoff. So it serves two purposes in this situation.
So you're taking out the 2 small buildings between your office building and your training, the woodworking shop now, correct?
Yeah, so if you so there's 2 sheds right in this location. There's a big building right here, and then a big rod right here. All those buildings are.
So is the building on the far southeast corner staying then? Is there not one more building that's beyond the white and green? Can you go to the picture with the white and green? Well, if you guys aren't clear on removing it, I would assume it's staying.
Both of the sheds south of that building, and then there's actually a double wide that's essentially been parked there that they used as an office. That's
Yeah, everything beyond our addition that's being removed.
The detached hallway is a bit 40 or 50 feet long.
No.
Oh, no. It's a level for those. The attachment is right here. So 6 feet wide.
Okay, all right. So we have 2 sheds right here. This is actually a double wide that can be pulled and dropped. It doesn't have foundations.
Okay, that was the building I was talking about.
It looks really bad. So that thing's going.
Okay.
And the double garage is to the west. They kind of painted it green to try to match everything that was going on, but that one's going as well.
Okay, so then the only other building remaining then is the shed that's north of it then?
Yeah, this one that they actually have a deck around is remaining, and
Okay.
then the training building that's existing is remaining.
Right.
And we're taking out the gazebo, which is on where the box is going on the
Okay.
north side.
You guys think?
I'm thinking about it, as long as it's connected, as long as it's architecturally the same, as long as it's functioning in the same capacity as a training. And as long as you have some type of landscaping in the swales and on the field and everything else, I would be okay with it.
Anybody else have any issues they're hung up on?
Same way. And I'm kind of curious why they're not, why it's not. Joint, that's what's prohibiting that? Why was it approached as an accessory or viewed as that?
Talking about the link connection, rather than, it's just that when you have an existing wall like this, and we didn't want to undermine that wall, it's much easier to connect than, with a link building rather than still face to it. Plus, the structure is a little bit wider, because they needed the depth to pull vehicles, so it exactly wouldn't come together as nice as we wanted.
It's a good question, Travis, but I think, and sometimes the architectural will require, or the existing building will be required to update that code if they are connected.
Yeah.
So sometimes in architectural or new design, it's easier to actually have a new building completely next to it, away from the existing building, even if it's connected in the hallway.
Isn't there some equipment here also
There are.
Motion?
on this concrete pad?
Yeah, I'd be willing to entertain a motion at this point.
Want to do it, you want me to?
Go ahead.
Well, like I said, my points, what I gave out before, as long as connected, as long as it's staying in a school, as long as it looks like one another, as long as the landscaping, I would say it's okay. That'd be my motion.
Second.
So the stipulation is obviously that we get the Indiana Department of Homeland Security Building Construction Design release, correct?
Correct.
Is that the only thing we're waiting on with that?
And there's a SWIP plan that needs to be submitted during the actual construction, so the contractor actually has to be listed on it. So during the permitting, I don't know who's gonna be doing the grading and the so.
And we haven't, but that's a bit that out, we're waiting on the city to finalize this. We do have the state release from the Department of Homeland Security, though, the ACDR.
Okay, so you have it.
We do, yeah.
Jim, I'll be the person that, because we'll have our guy out there, inspecting the erosion control, so I'll be filing the SWIP and notes of intent, prior to starting construction. So,
Predicated on landscape plan being submitted to the building department too, I believe.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
are we good with that? So was it originally your motion?
That's.
Conditional
was in my
with the landscaping?
landscaping,
Okay,
school, architect, the same. And same function, put together. We should be okay.
any other discussion or really? Roll call, Jill.
Travis Dunlap,
Yes.
Nicole Miliarini,
Yes.
Gordon McCormick,
Yes.
Aaron Adcock,
Yes.
Bernie Paparad,
Yes.
Jeremy McCart.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Don't get your flash drive there. Yeah, you should follow that.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's computers.
Appreciate all your help. I
Of course.
have talked on the phone so many times.
Anything in that bonds?
I don't know if they're looking at the social.
Okay.
Are you, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all. I appreciate your service here and talking with us tonight. Sean, you all. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just, yeah.
You just got it, 222, 860.
So back to new business number one, review of bonds, maintenance guarantees, letters of credit. Yeah, that's actually though, like I've been told to stay in my lane, the conditional certificate of occupancies are between the building department and those people. Yeah, so that's not a planning commission issue. Yeah, you got nothing. I know you wanted to have a conversation about it though, so.
So, on Corwin's, we've got the existing phase two, we have the unfinished streets. Is there a way that the planning commission can maybe send a letter out to the developer, asking what his plans are, if his intentions are not to do anything with plan 3 phase? We're destroying our equipment, we plow in the winter time, and a lot of the people who live in the residence, there's unfinished streets that were unfinished because the last coating was not put on, so you have sewer caps in the middle of the roads that are sticking up, and the plows are hitting them, people are hitting them with their cars, they're getting flat tires. It's just been going on for many years. If he's not gonna do anything with phase 3, is there a way that we can at least find out if we can maybe get those, because there is a bond for the streets there of, from what Jane told me, is $197,516. I don't know if that covers it or not. And to get at least some of those streets paved and finished up until they do something with phase 3. Is that something the planning commission can look into, or I mean, I'll be glad to work with them on it, just so we can get some answers to what we can do with those streets that are unfinished in Corwin's phase 2.
I honestly don't have an answer for that. I think we could check into it, but I don't know that we have the ability to like force them to move forward.
No, well, I mean, as far
I
as.
just don't know what authority we have at this point, like, cause I don't know that there's a timeline for our code for them to do that. And I think that's a bad loophole, but I don't know that there's anything that forces them to
Do anything at this point. You
Right.
know, I mean, with the
Do you have
DOT, I mean,
input on that, Shem.
Normally, we wait until all construction activities has been completed in the phase that they are in.
Right.
Assuming that they built all the homes or sold all the lots. It is time for them to actually perform, especially if there's some damage to equipment or damage to the residents. So especially if there's an issue actually because of the lack of finishing the infrastructure for all the residents that live there. So there is some authority, of course, from the board to push for finishing the items that are not completed.
So at least to start, because there's no, I assume there's no immediacy, because it's not gonna happen it's obviously not gonna happen in March. We're just about out of the snow season, but Jill, can we draft a letter and try and see if we can get an update on a timeline
Mhm.
for the,
Can we also get summary of said claims, so we know the disparity?
of the damage?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I'll get with Brandon and put something together,
so
and I'll get that to Jill.
okay, so when we receive the damage,
Mhm.
then that way we have that information before we make claims that we have any kind of financial loss or anything
Right.
else, just asking for an update.
Okay.
And then hopefully we'll have some communication going into the next month. Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. The streets aren't done, did we accept the streets? If we didn't accept the streets, why are we plowing the streets?
So we had a communication in the past, and what had happened with it was the minute that I believe the secondary plat was approved, those are dedicated right of ways, is from my understanding. Okay, and what this bond is this bond is guaranteeing that they get finished. But the minute we approve the secondary plat, those roads are ours. Is that,
The ownership, well,
because they're not dedicated?
the right of way has been dedicated, you're correct, after the secondary plat. As far as the acceptance of, the right of way itself, or, I'm sorry, the improvement of the public right of way. Those normally goes to the council for a different vote, and that reduces the amount of the bond. So acceptance for maintenance is different than acceptance of dedication. So the streets has been dedicated, correct, and the town basically responsible for them, essentially. But the acceptance of the maintenance, that needs to actually happen after the finishing of all the infrastructure or all the improvements. And the bond is actually assuring you that.
Right.
So the bond is making sure that you have, the amount that needs to actually construct all these infrastructures. And if there's damage, if there's a performance issue, just by the name of the bond, it's a performance, so there's an issue with performance that is damaging something, yes, absolutely.
Are you good? Are you having questions about it?
Good.
Is that correct, Wade?
Yes,
All right.
but I do think, I mean, yeah, you can't force them to finish it, but it might be worth inquiring as to the plans and the conversation.
Fair. Good to the order, any other business? Entertain a motion? Motion? Second, discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Travis Dunlap,
Yes.
Nicole Milliorini,
Yes.
Gordon McCormick, Aaron Adcock,
Yes.
Bernie Paparad,
Yes.
Jeremy LaCard.
Yes.